The massive alien ship hung in Earth's orbit like a silver lotus flower, its gleaming petals unfolded to catch the sun. Ambassador William Carter stared through the viewport of the small human shuttle as it approached the enormous vessel. His heart beat fast in his chest. This was humanity's first official meeting with the Galactic Council. Amazing, said Dr. Peter Hayes, the team's xenobiologist. His eyes were wide behind his glasses. Their ship must be at least 5 miles across. Commander Susan Mitchell, the military advisor, didn't share their wonder. Her face remained serious as she studied the alien ship. Remember why we're here? We represent all of Earth. The human shuttle passed through a shimmering blue field and entered a vast docking bay. Dozens of strange ships from different worlds were already parked there. Some looked like giant insects, others glowed with strange lights. One seemed to be made entirely of crystal. "Welcome to the Eternal Harmony," said a calm voice in their heads. The translator implants they received before the journey worked perfectly. "Please proceed to the Grand Chamber for the reception." Carter straightened his formal suit and led his team of 12 down the ramp. The air inside the alien ship smelled like cinnamon and ozone. The gravity felt slightly lighter than Earth's. The halls were filled with beings of all shapes and sizes, moving with purpose. Some floated, others crawled. Many walked on various numbers of legs. "They're all so different," whispered Lisa Reyes, the cultural specialist. "Look at the diversity." When they entered the Grand Chamber, Carter had to stop himself from gasping. The ceiling arched hundreds of feet above them. Stars were visible through a clear dome. The room was filled with at least 200 aliens from 17 different species according to their briefing. A tall, insect-like being approached them. It stood on 4 back legs while its 2 front limbs gestured in greeting. Its hard outer shell shimmered with blues and greens under the lights. "I am Council Minister Zix Thul," it said, mandibles clicking. "We welcome Earth's representatives to the Galactic Council's 7,053rd expansion ceremony." Carter bowed slightly. "Thank you, Minister. We are honored to be here." The alien's compound eyes studied them. "Curious. You are much like the Proxima, species in form yet far less advanced. How long has your kind been traveling between stars?" "We've only achieved limited interstellar travel in the past 15 years, Carter admitted. The minister's mandibles clicked rapidly. Carter's translator indicated this was laughter. "Fascinating. So recent? That explains much about your equipment." More aliens gathered around the humans, studying them with obvious curiosity. Some used small devices to scan them. Others simply stared. "We understand we have much to learn," Carter said carefully, "but we bring unique perspectives and are eager to join the galactic community." A floating blue sphere drifted closer. According to Carter's briefing, this was a Medusan, a gaseous being contained within a force bubble. "We have reviewed your E2 species application materials," it said in a musical voice. "Your technological development is quaint." Carter kept his diplomatic smile in place. "We've made significant advances in the past century." "Let us discuss your defensive capabilities," said Zix Thul. A hologram appeared between them, showing Earth's orbital defense platforms and military vessels. "You still use physical projectiles and chemical explosives?" The gathered aliens made various sounds that the translators identified as amusement or disbelief. "Even the Centaurians abandoned such methods during their Stone Age," continued Zix Thul. "How have you not destroyed yourselves?" Commander Mitchell stepped forward. "Our weapons are highly effective for our needs, Minister. We've developed precise targeting systems and various types of warheads." A tall, willowy alien with pale skin that seemed almost transparent joined the conversation. "The human speaks of these weapons with pride. Fascinating psychological development." Carter noticed Mitchell's jaw tighten, but she remained professional. "We take pride in all our achievements, including our ability to defend ourselves." As the reception continued, Carter's team spread through the room, speaking with various representatives. Dr. Hayes studied the aliens with scientific interest, while Lisa Reyes attempted to learn about their cultures. Commander Mitchell, however, noticed something strange. She pulled Carter aside near a refreshment table that served foods compatible with various biologies. "Sir, something doesn't add up," she said quietly. What is it? Their technology is amazing. Faster than light travel, artificial gravity, telepathic, translators, but have you noticed their so-called weapons? Carter frowned. What about them? They're not weapons at all. That Arcturian showed me their defense system. It's just a modified mining laser. And the Medusans use the same force fields for protection that they use for everyday containment. What are you saying? Mitchell's eyes were serious. None of these species developed weapons specifically for war. Everything they use for defense was made for something else first. They're repurposed tools, not purpose-built weapons. Carter thought about this. Because they don't have our history of conflict? Exactly. They mock our primitive weapons, but they've never needed to make real ones. They don't understand what we do, because they've never had to fight the way humans have fought throughout history. Later, as they were leaving the reception, Dr. Hayes joined them. They're going to vote on our membership status tomorrow, he said. But I overheard some representatives talking. They're only offering conditional observer status. What does that mean? Asked Carter. It means they think we're too primitive to be full members, Mitchell said bitterly. We'll be allowed to watch their meetings but not participate in decisions. Dr. Hayes nodded. They see us as barely evolved apes. As they walked back to their shuttle, Carter felt both humbled by the advanced technology he had seen and frustrated by the Council's dismissive attitude. They don't understand us at all, Dr. Hayes whispered. They have no idea what humans are capable of. Carter looked back at the magnificent ship. Maybe someday they'll find out. He didn't know then how soon that day would come. 6 months passed after Earth received its observer status in the Galactic Council. Life on Earth continued mostly as before. Few ordinary citizens noticed any difference, except for occasional news reports about alien trade agreements that didn't include Earth. Ambassador William Carter sat in his new office at the small Earth Embassy section aboard the Council station near Jupiter. The room was barely larger than a closet, a clear message about Earth's unimportant status. He sighed as he reviewed another declined request for technology sharing. His computer screen flashed with an urgent message. A video call from Council Minister Zix Thule appeared. The insectoid alien's compound eyes reflected multiple images of what looked like destruction. Minister, what's happening? Carter asked, alarmed by the alien's agitated movements. Emergency situation, Ambassador. Zix Thule's mandibles clicked rapidly. Unknown hostile species has attacked 3 Council worlds in the Perseus sector. Council members are gathering for emergency session. Your presence is requested. Carter raised his eyebrows in surprise. Earth had never been invited to any important meetings before. We'll be there immediately. Within an hour, Carter and Commander Mitchell stood in the massive council chamber. The room buzzed with frightened voices as representatives from all 17 species argued loudly. Holographic displays showed burning cities and destroyed ships. Who are they? Carter asked a nearby Medusan representative. They call themselves the Krivak, the floating blue sphere replied. They emerged from unexplored space 2 weeks ago. No warning. No communication except demands for surrender. Minister Zix Thule floated to the center platform and raised all 4 of his upper limbs. Order, we must have order. The room slowly quieted. The situation is grave, Zix Thule said. His normally superior tone was gone, replaced by something Carter had never heard from any council member. Fear. The Krivak have destroyed all defense forces sent against them. 3 colony worlds are lost. Billions of citizens. The minister's voice trailed off. The chamber was silent. Show the humans the enemy vessels, he finally said. A new hologram appeared in the center of the room. Carter heard Commander Mitchell gasp beside him. The ships on display were unlike any council vessel. Where council ships were elegant and beautiful, these were angular and threatening. Dark metal plates covered their hulls, bristling with what were clearly weapon ports. Their ships are designed for battle, Mitchell whispered, just like ours. Carter understood immediately. Unlike the council ships, which were exploration or science vessels with added defense systems, these Krivak ships were built specifically for war. What do they want? Asked a representative from a crystal-like species. A recording played. A harsh voice spoke in broken council standard language. The translator rendered it as, "Surrender resources, surrender worlds, serve Krivak, or die." "They've already destroyed our defense fleet in the Proxima sector," said Zixthul. "Our mining ships converted for defense were no match for their weapons." Mitchell leaned toward Carter. "Sir, their defenses won't work against purpose-built warships. They don't understand warfare the way we do." Carter nodded slowly. "And these Krivak clearly do." Reports continued to arrive throughout the day. Planet after planet reported Krivak ships entering their systems. The Council's hastily assembled defense forces were scattered and destroyed with ease. "The Krivak fleet has changed course," announced a Council tactical officer late in the day. "They're moving toward Sector 8. "What's in Sector 8? Asked Carter. Minister Zixthul's compound eyes turned toward him. "Your solar system, Ambassador. Earth." The room fell silent again. "How long until they reach Earth?" Mitchell asked. 3 days at their current speed," replied the tactical officer. Carter stood up, his decision made. "Minister, I need to speak privately with you and the Defense Council." 10 minutes later, in a smaller chamber, Carter faced the most powerful members of the Galactic Council. All of them looked shaken and tired. "Earth will fight," Carter said simply. "With what?" asked a Centaurian representative. "Your primitive weapons? The Krivak have already destroyed our advanced defense systems." "That's exactly why we might succeed," Carter explained. "You've never built real weapons for war. We have." He activated a hologram showing Earth's 15 newly built defense ships. They were small compared to Council vessels, but heavily armed. These ships were designed for one purpose only: to fight. Earth has experienced thousands of years of warfare. It's a terrible history, but it taught us how to defend ourselves. Minister Zixthul's mandibles clicked softly. "Your species takes pride in warfare?" "No," Carter said firmly. "We take pride in survival, and right now that's what we're all trying to do." The council members looked at each other. Finally, Zixthul spoke. "Very well, Ambassador. Earth may deploy its weapons." Carter immediately sent the authorization code to Earth Defense Command. Within hours, the 15 ships of the United Earth Defense Fleet moved into position around Earth. Smaller defense platforms activated in orbit. Admiral Diane Powell sat in the command chair of the largest ship, the UES Valiant. At 53, Powell had spent her entire adult life in military service. Her gray hair was cut short, and her blue eyes missed nothing as she reviewed the tactical displays. "Status report," she ordered. "All ships in defensive formation, Admiral," reported her second-in-command, Captain Howard James. "Weapons charged and ready, nuclear missiles armed." Powell nodded. She turned to face the video feed showing the council representatives who had taken refuge aboard a diplomatic vessel near Earth. "I understand you'll be observing our defense efforts," she said to Minister Zixthul. "Yes," the insectoid minister replied. "Though I fear we will only witness your destruction as we have seen with our own forces." Powell allowed herself a small smile. "Perhaps. Or perhaps you'll learn something about human warfare." The tactical officer's voice cut through the conversation. "Admiral, Krivak fleet detected entering the solar system. 15 large vessels approaching from beyond Neptune's orbit." The bridge crew tensed. Many had never seen combat outside of simulations, but all had trained for this moment. Powell straightened in her chair. Her voice was calm and clear as she gave the order that would be remembered in human history for centuries to come. "All hands to battle stations. Let's show the galaxy what humans do best." The Krivak ships entered the inner solar system with confident speed. They ignored Jupiter's moons and the mining operations on Mars. Their target was clear: Earth, the blue jewel of the system. Admiral Powell watched them on the main view screen of the UES Valiant. The enemy vessels were enormous black shapes against the stars, each one at least 3 times the size of her largest ship. "They're broadcasting, Admiral," reported Lieutenant Sam Grayson at Communications. "Audio only." "Let's hear it," Powell ordered. A harsh voice filled the bridge. It spoke in broken English, clearly translated by some captured council technology. Humans. We are Krivak. Your world now belongs to us. Your resources will be harvested. Your people will serve. Resistance means death. Surrender now. Powell exchanged glances with Captain James. They've done their homework on us. Yes, ma'am, James replied. Should I prepare a response? Powell nodded. She pressed a button on her chair. This is Admiral Diane Powell of the United Earth Defense Fleet. We decline your offer. She cut the transmission and turned to her tactical officer. Are they in range? Yes, Admiral. All Krivak vessels are within our targeting parameters. Powell took a deep breath. Humanity's future might depend on what happened in the next few minutes. Initiate Operation Thunderbolt. Aboard the Council observation vessel, Minister Zix Thule and other alien representatives watched with a mixture of curiosity and resignation. None believed the humans could stand against the force that had crushed their own superior technology. The humans will be obliterated, Zix Thule said softly. Their kinetic weapons cannot penetrate Krivak shields. We have already tried similar approaches. Watch, urged Dr. Peter Hayes, who had joined the observation team. Humans have a saying, appearances can be deceiving. On the Valiant's bridge, Powell gave her next order. Launch EMP device. A small missile shot from the Valiant's forward bay. It looked insignificant, almost too small to notice. What is that tiny projectile? Asked a Centaurian observer. It cannot possibly harm. The missile detonated halfway, to the Krivak fleet. Instead of an explosion, it released a pulse of electromagnetic energy specifically calibrated to the frequency of the Krivak shield systems. For 3 crucial seconds, the shields around the Krivak ships flickered and failed. Now, ordered Powell. All ships fire main batteries. All 15 human vessels fired simultaneously. Not the simple chemical rockets the Council had mocked, but nuclear-tipped missiles designed specifically to exploit the brief window of vulnerability. The space between Earth and Mars lit up with multiple explosions. 3 Krivak ships vanished in blinding flashes. 2 more spun out of control, venting atmosphere and debris. In the Council observation room, there was complete silence. Minister Zix Thule's compound eyes reflected the explosions. Impossible, he whispered. The remaining Krivak ships regrouped quickly. Their return fire was devastating. Energy beams sliced through space toward the human fleet. Evasive maneuvers, Powell ordered. Pattern Delta. The human ships moved in ways no Council vessel could match. Sharp turns, coordinated patterns, deliberate feints to draw enemy fire. They had been designed for combat mobility, with internal gravity compensators that allowed maneuvers that would kill most alien species. The UES Defiant took a direct hit to its engine section. Captain Ben Kelly's voice came over the command channel. Valiant, this is Defiant. We've lost main propulsion and our reactor is going critical. We can't contain it. Powell closed her eyes briefly. Understood, Defiant. Your crew has served Earth with honor. We're not done yet, Admiral, Kelly replied. His voice was calm despite the alarms blaring in the background. Request permission to initiate Protocol Omega. Powell hesitated only for a second. Permission granted, Captain. Godspeed. The damaged Defiant changed course, its emergency thrusters pushing it directly toward the largest Krivak vessel, their command ship. The Council observers watched in confusion. What are they doing? Asked Zix Thule. The ship is damaged. They should abandon it. Dr. Hayes watched with a grim expression. They're sacrificing themselves to take out the enemy flagship. The Defiant accelerated toward the Krivak command ship, which fired repeatedly at the approaching vessel. Despite multiple hits, the human ship maintained its course. Just before impact, Captain Kelly's voice transmitted one final message. For Earth. The Defiant rammed the Krivak flagship at high speed. As it penetrated the alien vessel's hull, Kelly detonated his ship's damaged reactor. The resulting explosion tore both ships apart in a blinding flash. Captain Kelly and his crew gave their lives to create an opening, Powell told her bridge officers, her voice tight with emotion. We won't waste their sacrifice. All ships, focus fire on the damaged section of their fleet formation. The battle continued for hours. 2 more human ships were destroyed. The UES Guardian took heavy damage but remained operational. The Krivak lost 8 vessels in total, half their fleet. On the observation vessel, Council scientist Elovix, a tall being with translucent skin, turned to Ambassador Carter, who had joined them to witness the battle. Your species designed these weapons specifically for destroying other sentient beings, the alien asked, voice filled with something between horror and awe. Carter nodded grimly. Thousands of years of human warfare taught us one thing: how to fight effectively. But the crew of that ship, the Defiant, they knowingly sacrificed themselves, said Zixthul. No Council species would consider such an action. Humans will die to protect what we love, Carter replied simply. Our history is full of such sacrifices. The remaining Krivak ships suddenly changed formation. Their energy weapons powered down, and they began to accelerate away from Earth. They're retreating, announced Captain James on the Valiant's bridge, surprise evident in his voice. A cheer went up from the crew, but Admiral Powell raised her hand for silence. Tactical, are they regrouping for another attack? No, ma'am. They're on a direct course out of the solar system. They're leaving. Powell allowed herself a small smile. Stand down from general quarters. Maintain defensive positions in case they return. She opened a channel to all ships. This is Admiral Powell. The enemy has retreated from Earth space. We've won this battle, but at great cost. We've lost the Defiant and the Intrepid with all hands. The Steadfast was destroyed, but most of her crew escaped in life pods. She paused, choosing her next words carefully. Today, humanity proved itself on the galactic stage. We mourn our dead, but their sacrifice protected not just Earth, but potentially all Council worlds. Well done, everyone. Powell out. On the observation vessel, the Council representatives stared at the tactical displays in stunned silence. Humanity, the primitive newcomers they had dismissed, had just defeated an enemy that had crushed their advanced civilizations. Minister Zixthul turned to Carter. It seems, Ambassador, that we have much to learn from Earth after all. News of humanity's successful defense against the Krivak spread quickly through Council space. For the first time since the invasion began, hope flickered among the 17 Council species. Admiral Powell stood before a holographic map showing the Krivak retreat path. The aliens had abandoned their campaign against weaker Council worlds. Intelligence reports suggested they were regrouping for a focused assault on Earth. They won't underestimate us next time, Powell told her senior officers aboard the Valiant. They'll come back with more ships and new tactics. Captain James nodded grimly. Our victory came at a high cost. We lost 2 ships and the Guardian is badly damaged. We can't win a war of attrition. Powell turned as Ambassador Carter entered the bridge with Minister Zixthul and 3 other Council representatives. Admiral, Carter said, the Council has requested this meeting. They want to discuss cooperation. Powell raised an eyebrow. That's new. Minister Zixthul stepped forward. His normally superior manner was gone, replaced by something Powell recognized from years of military service. Respect. Your tactics against the Krivak were effective, the insectoid alien said. The Council wishes to learn from Earth's military expertise. Powell gestured toward the conference room. Then let's talk. An hour later, Dr. Olivia Grant, Earth's leading weapons specialist, stood before the gathered aliens. At 38, Grant was brilliant but blunt. Her dark hair was pulled back in a practical ponytail as she projected designs onto the main screen. Your ships have powerful energy projection systems, she explained to the Council representatives, but you use them inefficiently because you've never designed them specifically as weapons. She displayed a diagram showing Council technology integrated with human weapons designs. With these modifications, your energy systems can be repurposed to deliver our warhead designs. The yield would be 5 times greater than our current missiles. Minister Zixthul studied the designs. Why would you share such technology with Those who mocked you? Captain Nicole Harris, commander of the UES Guardian, answered from where she sat with her arm in a sling, an injury from the recent battle. Because despite our differences, we're fighting the same enemy. Her voice was, "From us humans understand something about war that you're just beginning to learn. Survival often depends on standing together." The council representatives discussed among themselves in a series of clicks, whistles, and pheromone releases that the translator implants rendered into English. Finally, Zixthul turned back to Powell. "The council accepts your assistance. We will form a joint fleet under your command, Admiral." Within days, council ships began arriving in Earth's solar system. Human engineers worked alongside alien scientists, creating hybrid weapon systems unlike anything seen before in the galaxy. Dr. Grant supervised the installation of modified nuclear warheads onto a Medusan vessel. The floating blue sphere observed with interest. "Your species developed these weapons to use against each other," the Medusan noted. Grant's hands kept working as she replied, "Yes, it's not something we're proud of. But now we're using that knowledge to protect all our worlds." On the Valiant's bridge, Powell received reports of the Krivak fleet's movements. "They've gathered at least 30 ships," Captain James reported. "Twice what they sent before. They'll reach Earth in 2 days." Powell studied the tactical display. "They expect to face only our remaining vessels. The upgraded council ships will be our surprise." Minister Zixthul, now officially the council's chief military liaison, joined them on the bridge. "My people have never embraced the concept of deception in warfare." "Then it's good you're learning from us," Powell replied. "In battle, surprise is often your greatest weapon." 2 days later, the combined human council fleet waited behind Mars. 20 ships, 5 human vessels, and 15 modified council craft powered down to avoid detection. The Krivak fleet appeared at the edge of the solar system. As Powell had predicted, they approached with confidence, expecting to face only the remnants of Earth's defense force. "All ships, maintain position," Powell ordered. "Let them commit to their approach." The Krivak advanced into the inner system. Their formation suggested they expected resistance near Earth. They didn't detect the waiting fleet until they passed Mars. "Now," Powell commanded, "all ships, power up and execute Attack Plan Charlie." The combined fleet surged forward, engines flaring to life. The Krivak ships reacted quickly, attempting to reform their battle line, but Powell had anticipated this. "First wave, target their rear guard. Second wave, deploy EMP devices along their flanks, cut off their retreat." The battle that followed lasted 3 days. Space around Mars became a graveyard of shattered ships and debris. The UES Intrepid was destroyed with all hands, including Dr. Grant. 4 council vessels sacrificed themselves to protect Earth's lunar colonies. On the second day, the Krivak launched a desperate attack against the Valiant. Powell's ship took heavy damage. Emergency bulkheads sealed off sections exposed to vacuum. Fires raged through lower decks before damage control teams contained them. "Hull breach on Deck 5, reported a blood-streaked Lieutenant Grayson. "We've lost main weapons control." Powell helped a wounded officer to a seat. "Switch to backups, keep firing." Minister Zixthul, who had insisted on remaining aboard the human flagship, watched Powell with new understanding. "You knew this would happen," he said. "You knew the cost would be high." Powell nodded grimly. "War is never clean or easy. It's about making impossible choices and living with them." By the 3rd day, the Krivak fleet was in disarray. Their remaining ships, less than half their original number, gathered for a final push toward Earth. "They're desperate now," Captain James observed. "They know they've lost." "That makes them more dangerous," Powell replied. "All ships concentrate fire on their lead vessel." The combined weapons of 12 remaining ships, human nuclear warheads delivered by Council energy systems, converged on the Krivak command ship. The explosion temporarily blinded sensors. When the displays cleared, the Krivak fleet was in retreat. The remaining vessels limped away at maximum speed, leaving the solar system. Powell slumped in her chair, exhaustion finally showing on her face. "Stand down from battle stations. Begin rescue operations for any survivors. As medical teams treated the wounded, Minister Zix Thule approached Powell. The retreating Krivak vessels have sent a message to their homeworld, he said. Our translators have decoded it. What did it say? Powell asked. They warn their leaders to avoid human space. They call us demons who embrace death. Zix Thule's mandibles clicked softly. They fear you. Powell looked out at the stars. They should fear all of us now. We've shown what we can accomplish together. Earth had led the first successful defense against the invaders. The Council's perception of humanity had forever changed, from primitive newcomers to respected warriors. But the victory had come at a terrible cost in lives, one that Powell knew would haunt her dreams for years to come. As she watched recovery ships collecting debris and survivors, she wondered what this new alliance would mean for humanity's future among the stars. 1 year after the Battle of Earth, Ambassador William Carter stood before the full Galactic Council. The newly built Council headquarters orbited Jupiter, a symbolic location chosen to honor Earth's role in defeating the Krivak. The chamber was nothing like the first one Carter had entered a year and a half ago. Gone were the subtle design elements that had made humans feel small and primitive. This room was built for equals. Representatives from all 17 Council species sat in a great circle. Observers from a dozen non-aligned worlds watched from the gallery above. They had all heard about humanity's stand against the Krivak. Carter looked out at the gathered aliens. So much had changed. Where once he had seen contempt in their alien features, now he saw respect. Humanity comes from a troubled past, Carter began. Our history is filled with conflict, and we've become masters of warfare through necessity. He paused, looking at the memorial wall where the names of those lost in the battles were inscribed, human and alien names listed side by side. But we've learned that the same ingenuity that creates weapons can also build peace. The same courage that faces enemies can forge friendships across the stars. Minister Zix Thule, now the Council's chief security officer, rose on his four back legs. His once gleaming carapace bore scars from the final battle. The Council has voted, he announced. Earth is granted full membership with a special designation as head of the Defense Coalition. Applause and various alien sounds of approval filled the chamber. We mocked what we did not understand, Zix Thule continued, his translator conveying sincerity in his voice. We saw only primitive weapons, not the strategy, courage, and sacrifice behind them. Admiral Powell, wearing her formal uniform with new medals, stepped forward. The injuries from the final battle had healed, but she walked with a slight limp. That might never fade. Humanity accepts this responsibility, she said. But we hope to build more than just defenses. The technology that once made weapons now powers new ships of exploration. The tactics once used for war now coordinate disaster relief. She activated a hologram showing the newest generation of hybrid vessels. Their design combined the best elements of human and council engineering. The Krivak will return, Powell warned. And there may be other threats beyond our current knowledge. But we'll face them together, with the best of human determination and council wisdom. As the assembly ended, Dr. Peter Hayes, now head of the Interspecies Cultural Exchange, stood with Captain Nicole Harris near the observatory deck. Through the massive windows, Earth was visible as a blue dot against the blackness of space. They finally understand us, Hayes said. Harris nodded, watching council representatives mingling with human officers. They understand that sometimes peace can only be protected by those who know war. Below them on the main floor, a young Centaurian approached Admiral Powell. The alien was the equivalent of a teenager, part of an educational program that brought young council members to learn from humans. Admiral, the young alien said hesitantly, my ancestors were peaceful for thousands of generations, but our colony was destroyed by the Krivak. I wish to learn how humans defend what they love. Powell looked at the young alien for a long moment. Then she smiled. The first lesson isn't about weapons. It's about what's worth fighting for. She gestured toward the window where distant Earth shone against the stars. Home, family, freedom. Understanding why you fight is as important as knowing how. Earth was no longer just a primitive world on the galactic fringe, but the unexpected defender of a civilization that had never needed to understand war. Until now. And in teaching others to defend themselves, perhaps humanity would find a new purpose among the stars. The end.